Discourses. Is that what you call it? Discourses?
No.
Oh.
No. I barely understood what you said.
I
What?
don't believe
make
you
you-
can phrase discourse as a thing
I
that
think
someone
you
receives.
could. Employer, employee, discourse,
Yeah.
discourses, discourses.
I think I want to make you start again. No.
Greetings, basement dwellers, and welcome to another episode of Basement Discourse. I'm your host for this evening, Justin, the basement dweller in his nerd shack, and over that way is Brady, the anime nerd in his nerd shack, and then there is also Jace, the other nerd in his nerd shack with games.
This is so awkward. I love it. It's good.
Yeah, I tried to make it
much
real
harder
weird.
when you just try improv. Like
I know,
every
I was
time
like,
do
I
an
have not
intro-
planned this.
Every time
Like
I do an intro, I'm like, you've just got to go straight off the hip, right?
Yep.
And I'm
Sometimes
just
it
like,
works.
I have no idea what I'm saying right now.
Occasionally it works. Most of the time it's just straight up balls, but that's the show.
Yeah, it's it.
That's
right.
kind of our episodes. If you look at the view counts, sometimes it works, and sometimes
Yeah, we just throw shit at walls until it sticks, and sometimes it does.
Yeah, and
Other times,
our wives really complain about having to clean shit off the wall.
that's right, but that spaghetti stays.
God damn it! Are we?
Uh,
what are we?
What
we
are we
talking about
even
something?
doing here? Yeah, we'll talk about something, I guess. Something that we've all finally watched all of, correct?
Correct.
I actually didn't check that with you, Jace. You have seen it all, haven't you?
Correct.
By now? Okay, good. It's only 12 episodes. Where can you find it, Brady? The thing I am referring to.
In Australia,
Plex
Crunchyroll.
Yeah, that's where I found it too. Strangely, it
Pretty
just
much.
appeared. No idea how. I don't even. What's Plex? What's downloading? I have no idea.
No,
Yeah.
legitimately obtained.
So you can find this on Crunchyroll if you are subscribed to that service in Australia and other places. I'm sure you could probably just find it on the street.
Yeah, so
Because it's
Crunchyroll do
probably
actually have
way
a free
easier.
tier.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
got ads and only in Japanese, but they do have a free tier.
Yeah,
And
right.
it also makes the website sort of behave like YouTube
Yeah.
circa 2002.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
right.
doesn't
looks
do well.
Weird. Whenever I've used it, I've just used Brady's one, and I'm always just confused as to like the search history. So I just
Yeah.
give
Way
up
more
pretty
illegal
quickly.
than the
I made
Plex
love
server.
to my cousin.
That
So
time I got
it's
reincarnated
super
as
popular
my own pair
anime.
of balls, and then
Oh god.
yeah. So anyway, off topic, but the anime we're talking about has just come out. What, last year?
Yeah, end of 2022.
Very recently. I know we've talked about it a little bit on the show before because Brady has thoughts about it not being the best work from the manga writer, but we're
Yep.
talking about Chainsaw Man. Finally, after 5 minutes introduction, we're talking about Chainsaw
Maybe
Man.
we should go back and introduce it some more.
Greetings. We're talking about Chainsaw Man. So we've all seen it. It's 12 episodes long, 22 minutes an episode, basically. One of the strangest things I will comment immediately is the end credit scenes all being different, as Brady pointed out. I think it's
So
unusual.
90% of me reviewing this show tonight will be me talking about how wrong Brady is.
About the end credits.
Actually, so yes, Brady bitched and moaned about the end credits, but what you will note is those end credits are not very well animated and they are very, very cheaply drawn.
Yeah.
And that is probably quite intentional because the artists are probably sitting around fingering themselves like, oh yeah, while they're doing, yeah.
Yeah, while they're waiting for like the last episode to be edited.
Anyway, so they're just probably fucking around, and then they were like, well, like, let's just do this while they're doing, audio over in the next studio or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's not
Possible.
like
I'd like to know the full story.
fucking
I just
$400 billion. Like,
it almost, I get what you're saying. Like, it's not super like high in any sense, but it almost feels like they're done by separate people too. Like each one is done by someone else in the team, maybe maybe they were throwing animators that may not have gotten as much light as the big guys
or
a bone. They're just going,
Or
look,
it could be interns.
you're
or
not going
something
to
like
be
that.
doing this. Like, bro, you just started. You're not touching Chainsaw Man, but you can have the credits on episode 3. You can do that and go fucking buck wild. Here's the basic premise, because they generally do sort of run hand in hand with what has happened somewhat. Like there's some sort of a I don't know, a theme to it. But apart from that, they're like completely different and whack. So maybe that was it. Maybe they've thrown each of their, their lower end people a bone and just gone, have fun.
Yeah,
Don't
it's
give a fuck.
possible. I
at the end of the
honestly didn't
day-
research it, so I don't know. I just felt like it just seemed like you could have got a couple more episodes out if you weren't spending time on that. But I could be wrong.
So yeah, that's just like my thoughts is they probably didn't spend a whole lot of time on it. It was probably time that they just had in excess.
Yeah, they're just like, if you're getting paid 40 hours, you're working 40 hours. You're not watching us do something
They're
for
getting
20.
paid 40 hours and working 65 at least.
Yeah.
No. I would imagine in Japan they have working standards.
No,
I know
they
nothing
have
about Japan.
they have a word for dying at your desk because their work culture is so fucked.
Carry on then.
Okay. Yeah,
It's
that sounds like
real
fun.
bad.
What's that word? Because I'll get it tattooed on me.
Get it? I'll find it for you.
What, the word for dying at your desk?
Yeah.
Some days I fucking feel like it.
Yeah. Then I just get up.
Yeah,
And-
go for a walk.
Yeah, and I'm okay. And then remember that I'm only doing 38 hours in a week. Haroshi is the word for dying at your desk.
Haroshi. Yeah.
Damn, they just got a word for everything, don't they?
Yeah, well,
So we've talked about the end of Chainsaw Man, but what did you guys think overall of the 12 episodes?
I thought it was pretty good. I don't think
thought
it's
it was
like,
too.
It's not, top tier, but I think it's better than most of the shonen stuff that I've seen. I don't even know if it's technically shonen.
No, it is.
Is
It has a vibe to it. It has that vibe.
yeah, it
like
does.
Demon
Published in
Slayer-esque
it's
sort of
published in
thing.
Jump magazine. That makes it technically.
So, yeah, it's probably one of the better shonens that I've ever seen, but it's not groundbreaking. Like, it's not like the gore is in excess of other stuff I've seen. It doesn't have a deeper storyline than anything else.
Yeah.
It's different and it's fucking weird.
I thought they
But-
were intentionally going for not deep with the main character at the very start, just being like, I want boobs. And that's it. And then he's like, I want more than boobs. That's it. Like, I want tongue.
So, I know you were having a bit of a whinge about that in the DMs that we have.
Yeah.
But like, I think I kind of understand it. And this is what I was mentioning when I was like, I kind of disagree. But like, you've got to think that he's a poor ass kid
And
that
he's
has
16.
been literally slaving his life away just to pay off his dad's debt.
Yeah.
And then his first ounce of freedom, all he wants is, the luxuries he's never had, which is women,
Food.
money, and food.
Yeah.
And so that's all it's kind of like, you guys remember your first job, right? My first proper job that earned me several $100s in a week. My first week, I bought a case of rum and an Xbox, the original Xbox.
You make several $100s in a week? What am I doing wrong?
A lot. But yeah.
Hiroshi.
But so like I just went out and I splurged, and that's what I did for fucking ages. I was
That's
terrible.
true. Yeah, that is true. I was dumbly sensible a lot of the time, and I was a massive Scrooge even as a younger person.
I do remember this.
Yeah. I was a penny pinching little fuck, and now I'm penny pinching bigger fuck. But I did the same thing. Like, you get a bit of cash in your hand, you're like, God damn, I need to spend this before it disappears. Like, it does not exist tomorrow.
Justin's such a Scrooge. You should see how much he saves on shampoo.
You know what? I have the same shaving cream that I've had for 5 years, and I shave fairly regularly. And for some reason, it's like the never-ending shaving cream. Like it's several years out of date now, but it's like, well, it's cream in a can. Like I don't get it.
I used to have that too. Like I ended up throwing it out when I moved house, but
Yeah, this can is so old; it's actually rusting on the outside from
yeah,
like
so
just
was mine.
every now and then getting wet. I'm like, God damn! Like y'all should be charging like $50 for these cans
Yeah,
at this
but I think it's
stage.
more so that I just don't shave much, as some of you might be able to tell.
Brady's like,
So-
I wish I could grow enough to shave.
No. I
One day,
just
buddy.
consistently use electric ones. I can't stand doing the cream and stuff. I just could not be bothered.
I
I
only
have
do
to. You don't get a
flat.
choice. Like, I don't want to be no neckbeard.
Oh no, for
Damn.
that stuff, I get as close as I can with the electric one, and then if I'm going to something that's like a wedding or something, I'll just use oil.
And there you go, folks. Now you know how we all shave. How interesting.
I have not explained how I
Oh,
shave.
okay. Continue. Continue.
It doesn't.
No, I trim under here. The
Yeah,
wife
yeah,
usually
that's the
doesn't let me
worst.
fill my head. And then if I want to get real close to the scalp, then I get the cream out and the razor and go right
Y'all
down.
ever used a cutthroat before? While we're on this completely
I
off-topic
have,
subject.
yeah.
I've
That's
never
scary as
used one
fuck.
on myself,
Yeah.
but I've had hairdressers because I used to go to
Yeah,
like
yeah.
proper old school barbers, and they used
Yeah.
to use cutthroats.
Yeah.
And I
I've
tried
been
for a
cut by one.
while.
It's fucked.
I tried for a
Yeah.
while at home using the safety razors as well. The
Yeah.
like single blade that you put in with the
Yeah.
one that you screw down on top of it.
Oh, god damn.
It's
That sounds like death.
not as terrifying as a cutthroat, but it's not much less scary. Like it's still because you have to determine the angle as opposed to like the modern ones you buy that just turn with you.
Thank God for modern razors.
While we're on the tangent of terrible things that we do to ourselves,
Let's keep going.
you mentioning cutting yourself with a cutthroat actually reminded me of a time that when I was learning scarification, when I was a body piercer.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I was doing
That's
some
deep.
on my leg,
Mm.
and it's just above my knee, and I was just cutting like a V shape, V for everyone. And I do the left side,
Just
and
in
it's
case
like
you didn't know what it looked like,
perfect.
it's a V.
Yeah, you know, some people don't know what a V is, right? Brady's never seen a V. Anyway, so I do the left side, perfect depth, just immaculate. I go to do the right side, and I'm getting a bit over eager and a bit heavy handed, and I went across, and then I moved the scalpel away, and just the whole wound just goes, and it was like gaping, and I'm like, oh, that's too deep.
Gonna need stitches now.
Nah, I didn't end
idiot.
up getting stitches.
Nah,
That
stitches
besides
are for
the point.
bitches.
I just fucking
Glue.
just as many like bandages as I could to get the wound to close. But yeah,
Hold it
there's
closed,
the
hold it
story.
closed.
Well, thank you all for sharing this fantastic tangent
Okay.
inside of
So-
Chainsaw Man.
On that subject, because I think it plays really well into. I didn't hate that he was only after sort of the bottom tier things in life, because compared to where you're at, you usually go for that. Kind of like you said, right? So like a couple cases of rum and an Xbox was a significant splurge for someone your age, but people older than you were like, that's it? Like
Yeah.
that's all you went for? Or with more access to things. So yes, I do agree that him going after those sort of things is fine and all. What I found was actually missing from the character. Also, just to put it out there, I am just tired of overly horny like anime characters, because I think for a lot of shows
Yeah.
it detracts from the show to a point it becomes annoying, and it just keeps going in that show. I didn't love it. There were
Yeah.
moments where it felt helpful, but I think
I
they
think-
could have just
I think
as
they're
easily
trying to
played
build
on the
him.
emotional side.
They're
No,
trying to
I've
build him
read
up with
way
the whole
further.
like, you
No.
know, like, so they don't build him up to
No.
be caring at
Denji
all.
doesn't
Yeah, right.
really. Doesn't
I was
really
thinking
evolve
at
as
some point
such.
he's going to differentiate himself from the devil girl. Is it she a devil or a demon? I can't remember which one's which anymore.
Makima? Oh, power.
Yeah, power. Like at some point he was going to differentiate himself from her and just be like, wow, I don't want to be like that anymore. I want to be more respectful and I want to
No,
learn.
he's not that smart. He's not. But
Ah.
that's so the thing I actually find missing from him, apart from they often use sex to sort of control him, and I think they could have just as easily played on his emotions and like abandonments and not wanting to go back to a terrible life, but instead they choose that route. He has no sense of self-worth. None.
Hmm.
And I think that is actually in conflict with people who've survived and struggled on their own. And I know that feels a lot of dark, sad personal bias, but from my experience, people who had to crawl their way up have a sense of then wanting to do stuff themselves still, and a sense of pride about themselves. He has fucking none.
Maybe they're going to build that up too, though. Like, this is season 1. He's going to get stronger from here, obviously. He's not going to get weaker. So I feel like they're going to build his character up a little bit more as well as it goes through. Possibly.
I'd also like to point out that they did mention that he had low self-worth when he killed that first devil in the first episode.
Yeah, and then it's like,
the guy he
eat this cigarette and I'll give you 100 yen. And he's like, okay.
Oh, I wasn't even talking about that bit, but that as well.
Yeah.
And so that might more be the, the survival instinct. So like I've had moments where, I'm not earning much money and shit like that, and I'm willing to do fucking whatever. Like I worked at a fucking tip. It was terrible money, smelt like ass because it was a fucking tip. And I did that for ages because it was just income. And maybe that's it. He sees it as this is
it's more the things outside of the work. It just bothers me. Like he has no sense of pride as far as I can tell at all. Even like in fights when he loses, he doesn't get an ego hurt. He just gets mad and like is like, oh, I want to win because like that stuff bothers me. He doesn't seem to have really a sense of ego.
Yeah, there's no real drive for the character really. It's a bit hard to really enjoy him, but I think they build up other characters enough that you can just enjoy the show as a whole and not focus on just him. They put a lot
of effort into what feel like very side characters.
Well, that's oddly enough the part that I think, like, as much as I've been defending Denji, it's more playing devil's advocate and sort of giving an opposing view. But
yeah, which is always good.
He's like, if he was like an object in my house, he'd be a fucking sponge. Like, he has no fucking personality whatsoever. Like, there's just not a whole lot to him. He kind of reminds me a lot of Deku from My Hero. Like, he's just nothing. Like, there's just not a whole lot there. Sure, he's the main character and you're sort of rooting for him, but it's like,
Well, I think with Deku, the difference is, and this is not defending Deku, this is actually an explanation as to why you might feel that way about him. Deku just fits into the category of every hero underdog story ever. So there is a personality there, but it's just copy pasted. That's the problem. It's always does right, always does this, always does that. Like, whereas Denji doesn't even have that. He's just like, some food and tits would be good. And you're like, all right, what about after a few episodes? He's like, still just some food and tits would be good. And you're like, do you have a character arc? And they're like, no.
I don't think it's about him. I don't think the story is really about Chainsaw Man specifically. I think it's about the bigger picture and like, the gun devil and all of that, like the pursuit of the gun devil and the heroes that come together to try and get the gun devil. That's really the story. It's not about specifically Chainsaw Man and his struggles. It's about everyone's struggles and fear of the gun devil itself. Like, that's what it's about.
That seems like a fairly fair assessment. Like, I definitely think that all the side characters tend to be better.
They have more drive. Each one of them has their own reasons, like a backstory for D&D sort of thing. And it feels like this dipshit is just thrown in there. He's just the NPC with nothing in there. He's the Bob the Fisherman of this fucking world. Like, he's just a guy.
NPC thrown in by the DM to try and help the heroes through missions.
Exactly. Yeah, he's just a bit of muscle, and he's just the guy he's the barbarian that can rage. Like, that's all he is, basically. And then everyone else has these deep, meaningful backstories and drive as to why they're there. And, even that head chick is like super mysterious and has these fucking ridiculous abilities that she just pulls out.
When her abilities came out, fuck.
I know, right? You're just watching people just, you're like,
the Japanese appear to be fawning over her like quite bad. She's being used in like heaps of advertisements. She was used in a some recruitment thing that was like, come and work under me. Like, it's
Makima wants you.
Pretty much, yeah.
Come and work under me.
Damn, anime trope right there.
Yeah, that's what they're doing, man. Like, it's pretty insane.
So,
Yeah,
I'm keen. I will definitely be watching more of it. That's for sure. It has hooked me in. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Give me
Will,
season
and
2.
as
Fuck yeah.
I said from the start, I never thought it was terrible by any means. I
Yeah.
just thought that it didn't do anything new, and the hype in the community was ridiculous. Like everyone was just saying this is like the fucking second coming. Like this is going to be incredible. And I
Look,
watched
let
it
him
and
read
I was like,
the book.
it's more of the same with some slight nudges, I
Yeah.
guess. I don't
It
know.
was
That's how
fine.
I felt.
The fact that
But I
it's
will
only 12
say,
episodes is not a huge dive either. Like you don't have to commit to 24 or 36 or whatever it happens to be, or there's
Fucking like 600
you
if
know,
you want to do fucking Dragon Ball or
exactly.
something.
It's
Yeah.
12 episodes. I'm going to assume that the next season will either be 12 or 24, maybe somewhere in between that,
Yep.
and it's going to keep on going with that, and that's pretty cool. I'm fine with that. It had a start, it had a middle, it had a climax a couple of times, and then it had its end, which was not an end and has promised to continue basically. So if it doesn't, I'm sure there'll be a lot of disappointed people, but I'm sure it will. So it's done everything it needed to do.
The studio played around a lot with animation in some very fun and interesting ways, so I'll give them credit for that. I will say, and I'll do it without us. It's not really a spoiler. To be clipped for later down the line when they do eventually do more, or you guys discover more about the story, you are wrong in assuming that this is all about the Gun Devil and Denji's just along for the ride and it's about the side characters.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Well, shit. That'll be really shit if like the first episode of season 2 is like them just destroying the Gun Devil and then they move on to something bigger. Like
that confrontation, I think, would either cliffhanger at the end of season 2 or be in season 3. To be honest, they've still got a fair few arcs to sort of.
Question is Gun Devil. So devils, they derive off of the power of the fear that they have of the thing. So simple things like a fucking cookie devil would just be like something you would just step on.
There was a few insignificant ones in the show. And I think there was more in the manga, but like obviously they want to move it along.
Yeah. So Gun Devil is apparently the worst one. Is that the idea that this is the big bad?
He's the one that they're building up at the moment. He is a bad one. But I don't know.
Can you think of one that would be worse than a Gun Devil?
So I know, so I'll have to step out.
So there is going to be worse.
But it's different. It's too spoilery. I'll just
be worse.
It's too spoilery. I can't do it.
Just think of something else that could be worse. There's got to be other examples. It can't be like 2 things worse than a gun. I feel like there's several thousand things worse than a gun.
So you're forgetting that they're not all like an attachment or an object. So you had like the Aki gets the like future sight one, right? And then there was the nail that was a curse. There was the ghost one. So there are plenty of things that are not necessarily things that are more conceptual as well.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Now you just ruined it.
I didn't ruin it. I just told you that there is the possibility that there are things worse than the object of, but yeah, no, so you guys will watch more. Hopefully people can stop fucking thinking I just shat on it. I didn't. I thought I gave it a fair review. It was more cynical than most, but it's because I've absorbed a lot of this shit.
You've been there and seen that, and I think we all have, but while they didn't do anything too outrageously new, it was still a different enough show that I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to watch more.
Yeah.
So that's my review of Swords.
I'd also like to point out that like CGI section that Brady kept talking about.
Yeah. I didn't have a problem with
it.
I didn't notice it either. I actually looked back and I was like, where the fuck is he talking about?
Yep. Same.
Couldn't see it. I could not tell where it was exactly. I was like, I don't know. There was a couple of fight scenes, and I didn't see anything that was really outrageous.
That's
I don't know.
Probably it's either a pretentious thing or like a palate thing, right? I'm sure you could serve food to people that couldn't properly value it very well.
Yeah. So I watched 2 animes that Brady shat on as well this week, and I watched the first. Oh, no, actually, I only watched one of them. I have got one ready on my server. The one I was watching was, oh, God, what was the title? chilling in my 30s after
right,
being
yeah,
fired
yeah.
from the.
Sorry, I thought you were gonna say like you're just going on an arc of trying to prove Brady wrong or something. I was like, what the fuck are you
No,
talking about? And I'm
we
like,
do that
no,
every
this
episode.
was-
That's fine.
Yeah,
So chilling in my 30s after being fired from the Demon King's
Demon
Army.
King's Army.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a new
that's the
one.
name
It's quite
of the episode. Yeah, of the season.
Nice and
And
short one.
yeah. I shortened it to its thing. If someone could find that, that would be great.
Acronym.
But yeah, the
That was
acronym for that,
awful.
it's fantastic. Yeah, there it is. All of that. So chilling in my 30s is interesting, and I think it's got a cool concept, but it kind of plays out like our Pokemon. So like kind of they're trying to do this whole like hardcore thing, but then they're also trying to be like family friendly at the same time, and it's just doesn't work. It's real weird. It's awkward. Like, so they got like the girl chasing after the guy, constantly doting over him, and then he's winning, friends along the way, and he's got a party, and they're all happy, and he's meant to be a demon, but he finds out he's actually human in a demon world. He gets fired from the Demon King's army. He has abilities that can fight against demons, but he's not going to do that yet. Probably not until the end of the season. But at the moment, he's just walking around helping humans, and it's really weird. So, yeah, I watched that. It's not terrible, but I won't watch it again. And it hasn't pulled me in enough to watch it anymore.
That's terrible.
So, yeah.
That just is. All of that sounded terrible. You're not going to pick it up again. You just don't want to agree with me.
No, it was still watchable.
You're fucked. But I'm glad that you're adventuring. That's good.
Yeah,
You
dip
can
my toes in
learn
it
how
every
right
now
I
and
am if you keep going. Did you say you had another one you were going to dive into?
Oh yeah. I'm going to dive into the other one that you shared the other day about cooking in another world.
Oh yeah,
with my fantastic skills.
Absurd skills.
With my
cooking
absurd
in a campfire with my absurd skills.
Campfire cooking
like
in a different world with my absurd skills or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
oh my gosh. These
yeah,
things.
I'm keen to check that one out. I might watch that later on tonight, actually. So that was obscene. But the other thing that's
something like that.
The Chainsaw Man, we done?
Yeah.
That's
Unless
a
you
wrap?
had something you specifically wanted to put on it.
No, I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
We're done with that.
I think I'd give it maybe a 6.5, 7 out of 10.
Do you have
watch
anything
again.
gaming you would like to talk about, Jace? Or should we keep delving in this direction?
So one thing I would like to briefly touch on is that people are now being able to get Steam decks in Australia. You guys
I
familiar
heard
with
about
Steam
this
Deck?
actually.
Yes, I have heard
this
about
is
this.
cool news.
Yeah.
So it's basically a Switch, but it can play games that aren't shit.
Wow, that's a brutal review, but it'll cost you
awesome.
more than a PS5.
What? You can get them for $800 now.
You can now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Last time I saw it was like
A mate on my
decent.
Discord just posted that he just paid $849 for one.
That's
Damn.
all right. I saw them for like
They were
$1,200 like 6 months ago.
1,500,
Yeah.
shit like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Regardless, either way, that's kind of cool. Like,
it's a handheld platform that can play fucking Elden Ring, shit like that. Sign
Man.
me up. Like, I think it's
shit's
fucking
getting out of
cool as
control,
hell.
right?
I'm
Like,
just fucking broke.
Where does it come to, like, when our mobile phones are going to be able to play, like, the newer gen stuff? Like,
It's not
You
even
know
that.
what I mean? Like,
Does a Steam Deck
shit
have
is getting small.
Does it have a HDMI? Like, could you feasibly hook it up to a TV with a controller?
Yeah,
if you
like
wanted?
the Nintendo Switch, because that'd be kind of boss.
Give me a
Because if
few
it
moments.
can, that is
That'd be the
genuinely going to give
Perfect
the others a
replacement
run
for
for
a
their
gaming
money.
PC. Like, well, I mean, you don't even need a gaming PC at that point. Like, unless you're looking at high end shit, like you could just hook that
Steam
up.
Deck's hardware is capable of. I'd have to. I've
It's
never looked.
pretty impressive. Like,
Wow.
so there is a docking station for it.
Yeah. So
For
with that,
charging
I
or
would say
for-
that the
I believe it's for HDMI. Yeah, it's HDMI.
Damn,
Hook it up to the TV.
that's wild. How does
So I
the
would
controller
say-
disconnect then? You just connect an
It doesn't.
external.
So you can use a Bluetooth controller.
yeah, I was going to say you just
Wild.
Bluetooth one.
Wild.
With that, I think Sony and Microsoft should pull their heads out of their ass.
I'd be worried.
Sony was already doing that. Like, people shit on it all they want, but
PSP.
the PSP and the PS
Yep.
Vita were both fucking amazing.
Yeah,
They were.
agreed.
Just
I
did
didn't
not-
get to get to the PS Vita days because I don't know. I think the next gen came out as PS4 maybe, and I went with that instead. But PSP was awesome, and like the movies and stuff, it was okay. But we're right in the middle of like streaming services weren't quite out. Everyone was trying different things. I think the 4K came out around that time as well, and they really tried hard on the what was the other thing they did, like the ultraviolets and stuff. Yeah, it was kind of like that. Everyone was dipping their toes in this like area, and they tried with that. But the games themselves, like they were amazing. I couldn't fault that. That was sick.
Okay, so I was not specific enough. I meant just the way Steam has that massive, impressive library that's very
for sure,
regularly
absolutely.
updated. That's what I mean. Both Sony and Microsoft, like they're
And the
constantly
fact
these
that
bidding
Steam
wars with
sales
gaming
as well, like holy fuck, like that is next level to be able to get access to Steam sales on a handheld console. That's just bullshit.
Like I said, I don't even care about it being handheld. I would straight up hook it up to the TV like a pleb, but it's just got
I only
that
just got the
library
Switch
available to you.
like recently. We got the online stuff, and I was all excited for about 5 seconds until I realized it was a pretty small library in the way of like subscription based stuff. And most of the games you buy, like you get kind of sick of it pretty quick with the Switch. Like
A lot of
it's a
legacy
novelty
games,
for a
isn't it,
while,
as
and then
well?
it's kind of like that's it.
A lot of like Pokemon Blue and Red and OG Mario and shit like that, isn't it?
On the online.
Yeah.
Well, they got a cool range, and I think there'd be something there for every person, but probably only
Okay.
one thing for everyone. Like
Yeah.
they got a Kirby, they got maybe 1 or 2 Kirbys, they got obviously a lot of the Marios, pretty much all of those. They got the DK, but like they've only got specific things and not a lot of it, and it's still kind of a bit hard to look at. Still, like it's not the hugest leap forward with it, and it's just a bit rough to look
They've
at. Like I know
never
they haven't improved
attempted
it,
to
but
do that though, to be
Yeah.
fair. Like I don't think Nintendo have pushed hard. Like if they've improved graphics, they haven't ever claimed to be the best in the market with graphics for at least a
Yeah.
fair while anyway. But they have pushed innovation and stuff like that, which is sort
That's
of where they
right.
stand
Yeah.
out. But yeah, the Steam Deck coming out and being usable as both portable and as essentially a console with its power and its library, I think should give a bit of a good boot up the other guys' butts to do something about their libraries, especially that PS Now problem, which is still a goddamn problem. And
Damn.
they're still claiming it's because PS Now was originally just streaming games and they were claiming Australia's internet can't handle that. Now PS Now has download options, so there's just no reason.
You know what?
They're just not
That's straight
giving
up
us the
bullshit, though. Straight up, like absolute balls. I've played a lot of cloud games on Xbox now that have been available on Xbox Game Pass, and I've not had a huge amount of issues. I won't say it was perfect by any means, but not enough to be like, well, this is shit, I'm never playing again. I've had a couple of lag issues. I think it would have been during peak times, but aside from that, most of them have run flawlessly.
Yeah.
So a good example of that is the new hi-fi game that came out from Bethesda. And that has been a breath of fresh air, I've got to say. It's only just come out. I think it was kind of a surprise. No one really knew about it. And it was just kind of like, oh, here it is. It's on Game Pass, guys. There you go. Have fun. And it's been reviewed pretty highly already. So if you can get your hands on it, if you can have a look at it, really cool art style. You play to the beat, so it's like all music based. So you fight, and if you hit the punch or heart attack buttons at the same, it's a rhythm game, exactly. So if you hit it to the drum beat, you're going to get stronger abilities and stuff like that. I don't think it's going to be a long game. I think you'd probably be a 12 to 16 hour by the feel of it, and I've only just jumped into it, but still feels cool. It's good. Breath of fresh air. The music's cool.
That's fun.
They have a streamer mode for all those guys that just want to stream the whole thing. So I just checked out that straight away. So I don't actually know what the OG soundtrack is like, but they boast it's Rockstar based. So I think there could be some big hitters in there. So yeah, definitely worth a look, especially if you've got Game Pass.
Hi-Fi Rush?
Yeah, Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah, it's on Steam Deck.
There you go.
So I actually just looked up the library, like while we were talking. There is currently 2,743 games that are great on Steam Deck. So
wow.
They're games that have been verified as running well. There are games that will work but may need some tweaking and stuff like that.
But how's it going on Crisis, bro?
Crisis? I believe so, yeah.
The
Crisis
thing
2 remastered and Crisis 3 remastered.
Cool. All right, then. Cool.
Speaking of games not running well, unfortunately, a game I was excited for, despite not having the console to play it on, has just been dragged.
Absolutely dragged through the mud. Yeah.
Holy hell! You've been watching
I was waiting to see if there was any improvement on it, but it's looking like balls.
Here, my children.
Yes,
we be speaking about the Forspoken.
It looks really bad. I kind of want to play it because it looks bad almost now, because it had such promise and the trailers made it look epic. And then
they did really well on those trailers, that's for sure.
Watching
I think
people
they spent all the money on those.
Every 2 seconds, they're just like, you are leaving too far from the goal or something, and they're just getting like thrown back.
I saw a what Asmund Gold clip, and it was like talking about. Like it just showed a like preview where someone from the like development team was talking about how it's this big sprawling open game, and then he walks to an area, you are straying too far from the objective, and then it shoots him back, and then 2 seconds later, same thing happens to him. And
have you seen some of the
like
dialogue in the cutscenes? It's so awkward. They're like, it's just really long pauses between them talking and stuff. Like they're sitting there near the beginning, I assume, because someone's telling her she'll have to sneak around or do something about these guards. She's like, yes, I will. And there's like 4 seconds before he's like, okay, maybe try using the shadows. Then like 5 more seconds and she's like, that's a good idea. What is happening here?
It makes me think of like Oblivion days.
Yeah.
How awkward some of the voice lines in that game was. But like that was part of the charm because the rest of the game was fucking amazing. So these awkward lines, you're like, oh.
Yeah. Have you all seen the progress on Sky Oblivion?
I've heard word of it, but I haven't actually looked into it.
It's looking promising. It's early days and whatever, but it looks like we're gonna see this before Elder Scrolls 6. So I'm excited.
Sometime in the next 30 years, then.
At least, yeah. Yeah.
So,
our children's children will enjoy this.
Talking of like full conversion mods, so there was one for Half-Life, which I actually got called Black Mesa, and it was basically to use the Source engine, which is Half-Life 2's engine, to remake Half-Life. Now, Valve already did that, but in like a really lazy mod sort of way. Like they just did a remaster and they just put everything in the Source engine and called it, good. These guys have literally rebuilt the game in the Half-Life 2 engine. And I've played a little bit of it. I'm probably an hour or so in, and it's fucking gorgeous. I fucking love it because like it's a refresh on a game that is currently like 20 something years old because it came out in 98. So
damn.
Yeah. So it's a really nice refresh, but so I really hope they can do that for Sky Oblivion. Like if they can do the same sort of thing, fucking sign me up all day, every day.
Yeah. That's
Oblivion
cool.
was way better than Skyrim. Fuck you all.
Yep. No, I agree. I think the premise and the idea of it all was so much more fun. But I also agree why they went with the Dragons thing, because they had a way to be able to do it, although still janky.
Yeah, like don't get me wrong, Skyrim was Skyrim wasn't a bad idea by any measure, but I think Cyrodiil is a better setting. Morrowind is even better still.
Agreed. They need to step back into that world, but I don't know.
But obviously, like it's a bit like GTA. Like they can't just keep being like, "Oh, this is Liberty City. This is Liberty City again. This is Liberty City again." They need to cycle through the worlds they have available.
The issue is they've gone. This is Skyrim. This is Skyrim again. This is Skyrim again. Like fuck.
Well, that's because they just released the same fucking game. It's not like Rockstar are like, "This is GTA 3. Here's GTA 3 HD. Here's GTA 3 Refrigerator Edition."
Yeah. 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 Anyway,
well, I think that's probably going to round us out this week, man.
Yeah. Well, we talk about Chainsaw Man and some other shit.
Yeah.
Mad. Nah, it's been fun.
Thanks, Justin, for
That's
rounding us
it.
out. Jeez.
Sorry, I was just doing my best Forspoken impression.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
It has been fun.